Welcome to Mainland, Nelson's regional television station. I'm Graham O'Brien, and some of the stories coming up in our Nelson Tasman Regional News Weekly Roundup. Morgan's offer bites the dust as donations rocket in. Changes to Network Tasman could cost shareholders. Wakefield remembers world champ, and more. It seems we are all now spectators in what could be seen as the best run media campaign to sell a beachfront property, with the Buy the Beach campaign run through the Give a Little website. It really cranked up a notch this week after New Zealand multi-millionaire and commentator Gareth Morgan announced that he would pay the outstanding sum of money to help purchase the Aroa property, on the condition he had exclusive rights of use for his family before undertaking to give the property to the Department of Conservation once his family have finished enjoying it. However, the object of the exercise, apparently lost on Mr. Morgan, was to buy the land in order to gift it to DOC for full public use sooner rather than later. Gareth Morgan's offer was declined, and the public have rallied with over $1,881,709.67 donated to the cause Thursday evening, and growing by almost 9,000 within half an hour. With 3 days left, $2 million looks like an obtainable goal before the deadline. Adam and Dwayne have said on their latest Give a Little video post that a public campaign for a private tender to purchase the property would always be tricky. So the idea is to stick together as a team and pull this off. Mainland asked people in Nelson their thoughts on Gareth Morgan's offer to buy in, and if the government should financially help fill any gap.
He shouldn't have any rights at all. At all. We should actually put some money in it, not him. He earns a lot of more money than us, so he should actually share it, not put it into the beach. It's our beach, not his.
Yeah, so there's 22,000 people have donated to buy that to go back into public ownership. Do you think it's a bit immoral that he should decide to put in probably a quarter, if that, of what's being asked to have that ownership?
No, he shouldn't have any ownership at all. We should have ownership, not him, because, it's our beach, not his.
Well, it's not our beach yet.
No, but it will be. It will be, not his.
What about the government? Do you think they should come up with any shortfall?
I think the government should actually put some funds into it to see how we go and see if we can own it, not him.
I don't know.
Do you think he should, if 22,000 people so far have put money in, should everyone have a claim to ownership, or should it just go back into the public interest?
Back into the public.
Right.
Yeah.
And if there is a shortfall, should the government step up and buy it?
Yeah. Yeah, they should.
Okay.
It's a great idea, but not to have ownership.
Yeah. So he should do it like everyone else?
Absolutely.
Okay, and if there is a shortfall, should the government step up?
Look, I think to put it back into government ownership where everyone uses it, I think that's not a bad idea. Yes.
Great.
Well, if he can fence it off and have it as a cat sanctuary, I'd be really happy with that, but no doubt it won't become that because he doesn't like cats.
Right, so you'd be happy with him investing that money and then having ownership over and above everybody else?
No, I reckon what should happen is the government should properly fund the Conservation Department, DOC, so we could actually own that anyway. However, having said that, due to the fact that this government is, backing the meat and dairy industry, which is causing global warming, it's going to actually be underwater anyway, so I wouldn't want to pay too much for it because half it's not going to be there soon anyway. So maybe let someone else lose the money on it.
Oh, well, I don't actually have an opinion for this. I haven't followed the whole thing, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't know anything about it?
No, I don't know anything.
I think he's quite entitled to put some money in, but I think it should be the same as everyone else. You just put your money in and everybody owns it. It's not exclusive use at all.
Okay, and what do you think about the government? Should they step in if there's a shortfall?
Sure they should, yeah. Yep.
So as a taxpayer, you don't mind about that?
No, not at all. No. Okay. They've stepped in before for plenty more other things than that, and for a lot more expensive things than that too.
Like a flag?
Or a railways. Who knows?
Yes, I think he's got a real cheek to even offer. We can do it without him, and we'll get there. And I think good on Dwayne, who's organising it, and let's back him.
Right, and what about the government? Should the government get involved and help cover any shortfall?
No, I think we can do it without the government as well. We're nearly there.
A ceremony welcoming home for the last time a true hero of the mountain bike world saw more than 500 people turn up to celebrate the life of Wakefield's extreme mountain biking legend, Kelly McGarry, on Monday's Waitangi holiday at Wakefield's Recreational Reserve. In a fitting tribute, over 100 mountain bike riders were a guard of honour and escorted the wooden casket containing Kelly on the back of his father's Chevrolet Ute to the memorial service in his old Wakefield hometown. Many there were still in shock by Kelly McGarry's sudden death from cardiac arrest while riding the Fernhill Loop track in Queenstown a week to the day of last Monday's ceremony. Network Tasman Trust is responsible for transmitting power and charging its user shareholders to do so. Now it's looking at changing its trust deed to exempt itself as a lines company from some controls currently imposed upon it by the Commerce Commission. Some Tasman residents aren't pleased about the way the company's process in notifying shareholders of changing the trust deed has been handled. Chrissy Small spoke to Network Tasman Trust shareholder Lou Solomon about this proposed change and what he feels that could mean for its shareholders.
I have Lou Solomon here, who is a Wakefield resident and a concerned shareholder of the Network Tasman Trust. Lou, your concerns were raised when Network Tasman Trust put out a notice to say that they wanted submissions on whether the trust deed should be changed to, well, I guess to get rid of controls put upon it by the Commerce Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Where are your concerns coming from?
Well, my initial concern, Chrissy, was around the fact that the initial public notice, which was given, merely said we invite submissions on changing the trust deed, but didn't tell us any of the consequences of doing so. And what came first up is that one of the consequences of that would be that when and if all of the trustees are elected, then Network Tasman Limited can be exempt from price and quality controls that the Commerce Commission currently has.
Right.
Yes. And that wasn't explained to
the shareholders.
To the shareholders.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and tell me, where was this public notice? Because I missed it.
It was in the Waimea Weekly, and that's where I saw it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and also I assume it was also posted on Network Tasman's website, but
Okay.
I saw it on the weekly. Yeah.
Right, so there wasn't a lot of kerfuffle out there in the media about it, obviously.
Absolutely not.
They weren't sending press releases out to us anyway.
No, and I would have thought, well, you'll get a power bill, Chrissy, and I would have thought it would only, either electronically or in the post, it's only a matter of putting a notice in there, but that didn't happen. So I wrote to the Nelson Mail and said, I was concerned about this and that there was a consequence that hadn't been explained to us. And that was then quickly followed up by from memory, a question and answers document that Wayne Mackey, the Chief Executive of Network Tasman, put on their website anyway. I saw that there, plus various releases in the newspaper.
Right. Now we've seen other companies who have gone through the same process, and they now have a free rein to reinvest into other businesses that are outside the core business. This is a bit of a worry.
Well, a lot of people are, of course, concerned about what happened over at Marlborough, and just to recap, they spent, I think, the thick end of $100 million buying 80% of a winery, and that, of course, raised a few hackles, and I think perhaps Network Tasman's timing wasn't that crash hot, however, Network Tasman have pointed out, and it is a fact, that in the company constitution there are limits on the capital expenditure that directors can authorise without kicking it upstairs, if you were, to the shareholders, which would be the trustees, of course.
Right.
And that is, I think, for new ventures, that's 3% of the assets, which is $3 or $4 million or something like that, which is a relatively conservative sum. And I guess that is per year, of course, which would enable the directors to buy something on the drip feed. But certainly there's a lot of head scratching about what happened in Marlborough.
Right. Well, as a person who consumes power, and I'm a shareholder too of Network Tasman Trust, I want regular service, and I want to know that my power's going to be there, and if there's any problems, it's fixed pronto. You know, if I think my company is squandering money, and we're going to see increases in our costs just to keep our power supply happening in some way. So we've got a lot of trust, and we've got to trust a lot in the directorship of Network Tasman. And is that trust going to be well founded?
Well, yes. Of course, the trustees appoint the directors, so we do have that oversight. However, the trustees have no control over the day-to-day operation of the business. Now, of course, it's a slightly bizarre business because, of course, at any one point in time, the shareholders of the business are exactly the same people who are the customers of the business. So any increase in line charge, if you like, means the customers are worse off, but the shareholders in theory are better off, but that's just taking it from one pocket to the other. Any reduction in line charges, you take the money and put it back in the other pockets. With the exception, of course, the IRD gets involved if there's an increase in line charges. So for the benefit of all of us, the line charges should be kept as low as possible. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought.
No, that's fine. My next question is, so where to from now with the submissions, with the trust deed looking at being changed? Are they going to change it, or are they still waiting on people to submit?
Well, I attended the last meeting of the trustees, which was at the end of last year, and the trustees have received another expert report that has advised them to run the process again and go out again for public submissions, because there were shortcomings in the process, which one of the submitters has pointed out. Gwenny Davis, the chair, has made a statement, I believe, in the press that it will be run again. So I expect that process is imminent. There are some issues that have since come up that do concern me, and with the information that's been given out, and even some information that's in the expert's report, and I will hopefully make that a little more public at a more appropriate time. And I would like to think that the trustees get more submissions this time, because this is a significant business, Chrissy. And if we look around, I would estimate that as a going concern, Network Tasman Limited is worth somewhere between $200 and $300 million as a going concern. And that is somewhere of the order of $10,000 for each consumer. Or shareholder, is the way you look at it. So, I'd like to think there's a little bit more interest out there on what's actually going to happen to their $10,000, and what the plan going forward is for the directors, and we'd like to see from the directors and the trustees some significant reasons as to why they want to change the trust deed, because it's worked fine for the last 18 years. We have relatively low line charges.
That's right.
In Tasman.
That's right. And we all look forward to those Christmas bonuses when we get a discount off our power, and we get a bit of a cheque in the mail.
Well, that's right.
That's right.
And so, I'm shrugging my shoulders and saying, why change? Show me the reason. Now, the only reason that stacks up in my mind is that by being exempt from ComCom price and quality controls, they would avoid direct charges of about $90,000 a year, plus obviously some staff time involved in dealing with the hassle of ComCom's auditors, and that's estimated at $150,000, $160,000 a year, which works out to about $4 per customer per year. It doesn't even buy a cup of coffee.
Right.
And for that we have ComCom's oversight of price and quality. Now, do we want to give that away and save $4 per customer per year?
We asked some people in Richmond their thoughts on the proposal to change the Network Tasman trust deed.
Well, I don't believe in it. I think things are the way they are now are quite satisfactory.
No, I think they should just leave it as is. Yeah, I'm not not very interested in it though. But no, I don't think that they should change.
Just invest in the electricity grid and stay being a provider?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Well, they've got to get modern technology and start shifting like a lot of people have. I hope they don't lose any money.
But do you think it's all right to invest in things outside the electricity providers, normal things that they invest in?
I don't know, I guess it creates diversity.
Oh, I think they should put it to their beneficiaries, really, and ask them the question.
You reckon some sort of survey or referendum?
Yeah, at least good discussion and, fairly healthy public consultation.
And how about personally, what do you think about them being able to invest in things outside of electricity?
I haven't seen what they're proposing, really, but at initial thought it would seem unnecessary to go beyond what they're charged with doing in delivering power, really.
The demolition and refurbishment of the Trafalgar Centre area has cost Nelson community groups their premises to make way for a new playground development and driveway to the Trafalgar Centre. I caught up with Councillor Pete Rainey, the Chair of Community Services, to find out the reasons behind the shift of some who have been resident in the area for over 30 years and why these groups hadn't been figured into Council's long-term plan. Councillor Rainey, thanks for taking time to talk to us. You're the Chair of Community Services and you're in charge of what's been going on with the community groups down at the Trafalgar Park. Can you just give us your side of what's going on down there?
Oh, sure. I mean, over a period of years, we have put in place a plan for Rutherford Park, outlined what Council's vision was for that area, and also an implementation plan as to how that plan was going to roll out over a period of time. Overlaid over the top of that has been some more urgent decision making regarding the Trafalgar Centre and the way that we were going to get people in towards the Trafalgar Centre. And that, in conjunction with the implementation of the Rutherford Park management plan, has meant that we have been in a position where we've needed to move some community groups from the Rutherford Park area.
Sure. And when you say move, I mean, I've interviewed them and we've had their interviews on TV. I mean, they all seem pretty much out in the cold. I mean, especially the pipe band, they've got no place to practice at the moment. What's going to happen to these community groups? It seems quite harsh that they've just been left to fend for themselves, really, and that there's a long way to go for them. They're starting from scratch. They're having to build their own premises again. What do you think?
Well, I need to take you to task on some of those comments. They certainly haven't been left out in the cold. There's been conversations going on with these groups for some time. Highland Pipe Band are rehearsing at the darts room over in Guppy Park, and it looks like that they'll be getting a permanent space there, which is great. The small bore rifle small bore guys are shifting to a new facility, hopefully, out at Saxton Field. We've got a temporary facility sorted out for them in the Reliance building around the port. They've got a range that's been set up there on a temporary basis until such time as the future of their building at Saxton Field is ascertained. The Community Artworks group are in a temporary building in the middle of town, and it's certainly my intention to put in place or to facilitate putting in place a permanent home for them adjacent to the refinery art space.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, thanks for taking me to task. I'll just come back with you on that one. The Highland Pipe Band at the Darts Club, it's not fit for purpose, that building where the other one was. They're practising outside. As far as I know, the Small Bore Rifle Club, they're trying to make it fit for purpose, but it seems pretty much up in the air. And then also they're going to Saxton Field. It seems quite an arrangement there. They have to fundraise at least half of the total costs, and which seems a big ask after they already had their own buildings that were good for national events, and the Rifle Club was international events.
So as far as the Highland Pipe Band is concerned, I agree with you. I think, the Highland Pipe Band is a unique group of people who need to have an indoor rehearsal space that is obviously acoustically able to cope with having a Highland Pipe Band in it. They do rehearse outside because they rehearse outside for marching, and arguably they were doing that at Rutherford Park as well. So whether the darts room ends up being a permanent solution for them or not remains to be seen. These things don't happen overnight, and we certainly are fully supportive of getting a long-term solution to their needs, because we value the contribution that the Highland Pipe Band makes to the city. As far as the small bore rifle guys are concerned, the situation, the temporary situation they've got at the moment is certainly only temporary, and we are absolutely committed to helping them put in place a brand new facility at Saxton Field. Now, whether that means that council will put financial support into that is not something that I can answer on camera. That would be something that would need to come up through normal council processes. Could well happen, Graham, but that request hasn't been made by them at this stage.
Sure. It just seems a bit harsh that so much has gone into the planning of the Trafalgar Centre, yet these community groups have been not put into the plan so well, and are now playing catch up yet again. Like they've been there 30 years and 50 years. I mean, Highland Pipe Band's been around for 90 years. Do you feel that you've had enough consultation, and have you met with them regularly and talked with them?
Well, I've met with them from time to time, and certainly staff members have met with them a lot. I mean, there has been good conversations going on. It would be fair to say that all of the groups were very aware of their scenario. They knew what the situation was, and that one day, their position on Rutherford Park was going to come into question. Now, the Rutherford Park plan has been clearly articulated over a period of time. It's been 5 or 6 years that plan's been in place. They've had it just as long as we've put it out, so they've known that the situation was coming. We've talked to them about it, and we are working constructively with those groups to try and put some things in place that are going to be satisfactory for them, if not an improvement.
Sure. And just coming back to your meetings, it seems a lot of the time that the consultation is not really going how people want it to go or how people expect it to go. Have you had minuted meetings where you've sat down and really knuckled out sort of some of these issues?
Well, it's not a position where we need to have a minuted meeting in terms of a meeting between staff and them in looking at the way ahead. We certainly have had plenty of meetings, and I think we're in a good space at the moment, and I would be surprised if any of the groups were uncomfortable with where they are at.
We're struggling a little bit with sound issues and things. Playing inside the hall is quite tricky, so at the moment our practices are all outside, so on a nice day it's all right.
It's cost us quite a bit to move, and so we're asking for volunteers because we would like to be able to pay you guys, but we don't have the money.
Well, we had to move from Parapara Road courts, which were very nice. There was 12 courts there, and they were laid by us, and we were very happy renting the pipe band room for our morning and afternoon teas, and everything was fine until we got the news that we had to move on the 1st of April, which was last year. And there was a sudden move of cabinets and all our gear over to Trafalgar Park.
Not all of them have the same level of expectation about what's happening, and some of them have a little bit more of a grey area in terms of where they're heading. Maybe the Highland Pipe Band guys are a little bit hesitant about where they are. But at this stage, I think Council's working with them well, and I can see some good scenarios coming out.
And what would be some of the scenarios that you'd see in the future that you'd like to see, like for the community artworks, especially?
Well, I think that this is my own personal view. It's not council's view, but I see a really strong synergy between community artworks and the kind of activity that's happening at the refinery. There's a bit of clear space behind the refinery, which would be a really good idea to not use it as a car park, but to use it as more productive space. So I would like to see that happen. I think the small bore rifle facility that will end up getting constructed out at Saxton Field will be an outstanding facility, and will give them the opportunity of doing national tournaments, and I think they're going to be really wrapped with it. It's always sad when an old facility goes, and I have full empathy for the especially for the older club members who've been down there for a long period of time and poured a lot of energy into that. But things change. Highland Pipe Band, I absolutely value what they're doing. They're a unique group, and they need to be sorted out in a way that's going to be good for them and good for the city as well. Overall, I'm extremely excited about the future of Rutherford Park, and I think that for me, what I've been trying to drive through as Chair of Community Services for some years now is to turn that area of town round and to get more people using what is really quite a unique part of Nelson and was underutilised.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics, toys,
sound systems, cables, and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Are you looking for a scooter, walker, wheelchair, baby seats or pushchairs? Then come in and see the Nelson Region Specialist at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library. We have a huge selection of scooters, walkers, wheelchairs and accessories, along with a free booklet guide. We also provide a breakdown service if you ever get a puncture or a flat battery. We have fully equipped service vans to rescue you. Hi, I'm Robin Jordan and I invite you to call in and see the friendly team at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
Sit and Be Fit is on at the Victory Community Centre Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. at the Victory Community Church, 238 Upper Vanguard Street. On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
Nelson Tire Centre. Great prices, great service. Buy your own Bryford trailer. All types, all sizes. See Colin Douglas for your tires and batteries.
Welcome me hearties to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, famous for hearty meals, craft ales and a friendly service way. Sensational seasonal menus with meals all day and evening too, or sail in for a snack with special menus for young smugglers and you. Settle in for a jolly old time, relax and enjoy our award-winning dining and lovely fine wine. Decked out in an old worldly way, we're open 7 days. Book or come on in to 8 Muritai Street, not far from a beach walk or swim. Phone 546408.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.